Good evening and welcome to our next episode of Cooking with Michael. First of all, thank you all who watched our quick clip show last week. It was fun, we enjoyed it, and of course we kind of had to do it because everything else got screwed up. But tonight, we're back and we're cooking. And tonight we have a phenomenal special guest chef. That's right, a celebrity guest chef. He has won 3 Golden Skillet Awards, twice on the Iron Chef. He has worked closely with Gordon Ramsay, and we have him here on Cooking with Michael. So, we're going to go ahead and we're going to introduce Marcus. Marcus, come on in.
Hello, everybody.
This is Mark. Wait a second, you're a lot shorter than I thought you would be.
What's the point?
Were you on like the cooking, the Iron Chef midget version? I'm sorry, excuse me, little people version?
Vertically challenged.
Vertically challenged, okay. Actually, I made all that up. He's just someone who's a really good chef and wanted to do the show. So we're going to have him come on, and he's going to show us what we're doing. So, as you know, first of all, thank you, Andrew, Chapel Beer and Wine. You always take care of us, and I've got my Pinot Grigio on back. But I found out little people don't like Pinot Grigio.
Correct.
I'm going to get hit a lot, by the way, during the outtakes, which we'll probably use in clip shows later on. But he's went with the Jameson because, as he said, he's a real man and I drink the wine. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to pour my wine, and I'm pretty much going to do what I normally do when we have a guest chef. Marcus, what the hell are we making? And actually, what are you making? And what am I drinking and watching?
We're making New York strip and shrimp fettuccine.
Shrimp fettuccine. Ooh, shrimp fettuccine.
Don't worry, they can edit that out.
Yeah, shrimp fettuccine. I haven't been drinking yet. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Okay, all right. So what we're going to do is we're really just going to get started, and as we're doing this, we'll talk and what have you. Marcus has been very excited to do this. We've been trying to get him on for a long time, but his schedule has been. Don't shake your head like that. But his schedule has been full. Why do we start?
First, I guess we want to start a pot of boiling water and get it to come to a rolling boil.
So basically, we're going to do the fettuccine first, right?
We're going to start the noodles, but we're also going to prep the steaks at about the same time.
Okay, so let me get the water first, and then
we don't want to do a full pot.
You want to make sure you try and stay in the camera too when you're doing that.
We don't want to do a full pot because we want the starch from the noodles to cook the meal.
Okay.
So we want a cast iron skillet, a frying pan, and a large pot on the stove at once.
Okay, so this is what it looks like. A little less than a half full, maybe right around half full. Is that right?
That's good. We also want to heavily salt the water, but because we're going to use a little bit of a saltier cheese, we're not going to salt it as much as we usually do. So we're going to salt the water and just wait for it to come to a boil. A lot of the flavor comes from the salt for the noodles, so you want to use. So sometimes you want to use a little bit more salt than people think you should, just because you're flavoring your noodles right now, and that's the only opportunity you have besides the sauce.
All right. But we always talk about salt and health and what have you. You put a lot of salt in there. Is that going to cook away? Are we going to drain that? Or is that?
We're only going to use. So we're going to use a couple of cups or a couple of ladles of water from this to help the other part of the meal, which you'll see later on.
So it won't be as much as salty as what we saw.
It'll only absorb somewhat in the noodles, but that's about it.
What happens next?
All right. Now, while we're waiting on that, we want to salt and we want to pepper our steaks.
So Marcus is going to bring over the steaks. As you know, I always go to my butcher. But Marcus basically told me he was going to his own personal butcher because it was his meal. So he got his at his own personal butcher. Not a problem. You still got to go see Andrew, so that was plus. Remember, if you're in Germantown and you need beer or wine, Chapel Beer and Wine, stop and see him. Tell him Mr. Mike sent you. He'll take good care of you.
So now we're going to salt and pepper our steaks.
So the steaks are, these are pretty thick steaks.
That's what you want. You
want like an inch thick steak.
We want, inch and a half.
Inch and a half.
We want a nice thick steak.
Nice thick steak.
And you want to let it rest till it gets about room temperature before you throw it in your pan, so you have a nice even cook.
So what you're saying is you want big, thick meat.
No, that's what you want. That's why I'm delivering it.
He's delivering me my big, thick meat. Okay, all right. This will go on. Okay.
So we're gonna salt it. He has sea salt here. I forgot the kosher. Normally I use kosher, so we're not going to use as much sea salt as we would kosher because sea salt is saltier than kosher. But we are gonna kind of over season them a bit. because you want that salt to kind of stick on there and flavor the
So
steaks.
You recommend kosher salt instead of the sea salt, right?
For red meat, I like kosher. I feel like it gives a better flavor. I like kosher because they're big, flat flakes, and they tend to stick to the meat better. And it's not super salty, and it gives your meat a bit better flavor. I like a medium grind when I do the pepper, because it just kind of sticks to it better, and you don't have people biting into big chunks of pepper later on.
Back to seasoning. Another reason why I love having guest chefs. I get to get drunk and watch somebody else cook. It's fantastic.
So then we're going to get Michael to use his hands to press in the pepper and the salt.
Ooh, I get to play with my meat.
And then
I get to play with Marcus's meat.
If you could salt this side, but not as heavily as the other one, because we are using sea salt, and we don't want to over salt the meat.
All right.
We're going to get crust on it. All right, a little bit left. Change it down. Keep it bigger on there. Then we're going to press it in, and then we're going to just let it sit for a little while we let our water boil. Hopefully it doesn't boil too fast. Sorry about that.
Yep. So, yes, all joking aside, when I press my meat, we just pressing it down in there?
Yes.
We're on both sides?
Yes.
Okay. Someone likes to play with his meat.
All right, so now we're just waiting for the water to boil. We want to get our steaks. Let's start our pan with our canola.
Okay. So we'll go ahead. We're going to use and again, of course, our pans were supplied by Chapel Beer and Wine.
We're not going to use a lot of oil, just a little bit. Because
even though it's seasoned, you still put the oil in?
That way we can, because they don't create natural juices and oils for a while.
Okay.
So we just want to get it hot. And then we want a super high pan. So this requires a lot of ventilation.
Okay. Well, we don't have that, so
I use two different types of tongs. I like the tweezers for my pastas because you can grab a noodle if you want, or you can grab,
Actually, that's pretty cool. I've never used those. I'll have to get a pair of those.
And then I use these for larger items like my steak and so on. I don't like the ones that lock. I like them to stay open so I can just go and grab them because I feel like you should have control. I also have a skinnier pair for really fine tasks. Like if you're plating something and you want it to look, you want to put like cranberry on top of something, you can use these.
Guess what I'm ordering from Amazon?
Kitchen tweezers.
More cool shit. That's okay. My executive producer has a relationship with the Amazon guy.
So we're
basically just take one of the steaks and throw it right in there, and
we're gonna cook 2 steaks at a time because there's 4 steaks, and we don't want to be over here all damn day. And we're gonna sear them on high heat for about 3 to 4 minutes.
How did it when you do this? What do you temperature wise? Like, are you looking for rare, medium rare?
So there's 2 ways I cook steaks. I either cook them in the frying pan, only depending on the thickness and how high I can get the pan, or I'll sear them on both sides and finish them in the oven.
Okay.
So we don't have a pan where we can just transfer it over right to the oven. We're going to put them on our quarter-inch cooking sheet and transfer them in the oven that way. So
Okay.
we'll preheat our oven to 350.
Okay. Just on bake?
Just on bake, 355, whatever. And then we're gonna cook them. We're gonna finish them in the oven because we don't have a lot of room here.
As you know, in my house, you need to check to make sure there's nothing in there because we used to hide things in there from the cats.
And then, so you're gonna be tempted to move your steaks and check them. Let them go. They're not gonna burn. They're not gonna do anything else. You want that crust on your steaks.
So we want to literally leave it in there for the full 3 minutes before we actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just let it go.
So don't move it.
Don't be
let it do
nervous.
its thing.
Let it go.
Okay. Wine.
Jameson, please.
Oh, excuse me. I do have one job here today, and that is
That's right.
Hannah Miss Jameson.
For the pasta, you don't want to skimp on the pasta. Pasta, even if it's expensive, dried pasta is only going to cost you at max $10. You want to get a better pasta than you normally would buy, because you want the starches from the good pasta to help build the sauce for your meal.
Okay.
I didn't have a box grater, so we're going to use a little cream. Normally I don't use any cream, and my sauce is still creamy.
Okay, gotcha.
From the cheese that we use.
Gotcha. Oh, great, we're using cheese. Right now, my editor is putting a little poo emoji right here. Okay. Not here, because that's just inappropriate. Sorry.
So this is what you want your steaks to look like after you get a nice sear.
Let's take a look at what that looks like, so. Yeah, so basically you want a nice crust from the salt and pepper and the seared in the cast iron skillet.
All right, so I'm tempted because I want to check them, but I know we're not ready yet.
Okay.
And then we're going to lay them on the sheet. So what I like to do is I like to finish them in a rosemary sprig and some butter. And so what I'll do is I take the butter and I'll put it down here. We're going to finish them a different way.
Okay.
We're going to finish them with the rosemary on top of them with a piece of butter towards the end of their cooking in the oven.
Okay.
Okay, so everything comes in. Butter burns at 165 because it's fat, so you don't want to use butter to cook something at high heat because it'll just burn on you and turn brown and black and become bitter. So you don't want to use butter if it's too hot.
Okay.
You do want to use something like avocado oil, canola, any of your high heat oils. Olive oil has a much lower smoke threshold and burn threshold, so it's not recommended to use that. We're going to take the cutting board and cut off two patties of butter. So now we're going to take the pat of butter and we're going to place it on top. Then we're going to get the rosemary out.
Okay, so this is what it looks like before we put it into the oven. You can see the crust on it, the pats of butter, the rosemary, and you can actually see it through all the smoke. So we start construction next week for the set, i.e. my house, and we will have better fan and better ventilation in my house after this is all done.
And we're trying to make clouds.
And we're trying to make clouds, not clowns.
Well,
Sorry, okay, sorry. No. And my son just reached out and said clowns.
So we're putting that in.
How long do we leave it in there for?
I played by ear 10 minutes.
Okay, so
15 maybe. 15.
As you know, I don't measure. He doesn't actually time. He does everything by look. So we're gonna do it that way. Okay. So next thing we're gonna do is the fettuccine, right?
All right. So I like to do my shrimp first. So cut a couple of pads of butter.
Okay.
A little olive oil, if you don't mind. I like to go one turn in the pan for the olive oil if we're just cooking the shrimp real quick. Okay, that's a little more than a turn, but we're there. A couple of pads of butter. Always add your onion first.
So, one shallot. What we're going to do is basically Marcus is going to cut up a shallot, basically for flavor, to add to it. Not a big one, but enough to give it that little bit of flavor. You always want to cut the onions first when you're starting this off, before you do your sauce, when you're doing this, because
you don't want undercooked onions. It might mess with the consistency of your meal, as well as you want to start building your sauce. So whatever ingredients you use, and onions add a nice flavor. We're using shallots because they're sweeter, they're not as pungent, and if we cook them right, we can get them almost translucent. No one will see them in the sauce. I know not everybody uses onions in their fettuccine. I happen to do it because I like the way it flavors everything. And we're cooking with shrimp, and shrimp need flavor.
there you go. So basically we're going to use the entire... Now, we won't tell you where we got them because... when Marcus goes, he does not go to Aldi, which is okay. I won't tell you what kind he got. I'm not going to show you that, but he got a little bit of higher quality, as he said, because it does give you a little bit better of a noodle. So, again, at the end of the day, we talk always about the idea that we want something affordable, easy to make, what have you. But
these were $3, $3.50, but they yield more starch, and I need that for the sauce. So that's why I like them. They're a little bit higher quality. They're not super duper expensive. They're not like gourmet noodles, but they do they do have a little bit more bite when they get al dente, and we want to cook them. We want to cook them until they're al dente. So we don't want to cook them the full 12 minutes. We want to cook them like 9 to 10 minutes, and then transfer them to our pan. We're not going to even drain the water out of it. In fact, in about 3 to 4 minutes, we're going to start using the water to build our sauce. Okay, so now that we have everything going, we're going to get, I don't think we need a whole bag, quarter bag. You want to add olive oil to your water so they don't stick. Perfect. It'll help them avoid just a little bit, not a whole lot. I watched a lot of cooking shows growing up.
You ever watch our show growing up?
I watched it.
Oh, sorry. We're pretty close to the same age, but...
No, we're not. He's much, much older than I am.
2 years.
Like, do you really believe him? So, when you put the garlic in, how do you know the garlic's done?
When the smell's there, you pretty much got what you wanted. You don't want to do it where it's brown and you don't want to overcook it.
So we're going to use a little pasta water. That's why I said we want that starch. And as you can see, the water has a lot of white in it, and that's the starch from the pasta water.
Can you ever sing Italian songs when you're cooking?
No.
And he was scared to do this, just so you know.
Salt and pepper, please, sir.
Salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper! Come on, grind.
Oh, I gotta grind it?
Yeah, bitch.
Well, shit, alright. I'm grinding.
Don't over-salt it. The sea salt now. It'll be salty as hell. We hate our food.
Well, you're the one who got to tell. He's fucking making the recipe. He's telling me not to overdo it. Alright.
Old Bay.
We're doing Old Bay?
Yeah, why not?
Only in Maryland can you put Old Bay and Alfredo and get away with it.
On the shrimp. We're going to pull the shrimp out anyway. Or actually, we're not. We're just going to cook them like this. We're just going to play it by ear. I don't know what I'm doing. See how the noodles start to look? Once they become more translucent, then we know we're good.
Okay. So we have different kinds of cheese. We've got Parmigiano Reggiano, which means expensive fucking cheese. And then we've got another brick of Parmesan, and since it's all specially wrapped like that and not generic, expensive fucking cheese.
You want a good Parmesan, and you want it with the wax on the back.
Out of curiosity, why?
Because that's how you know it's real. The fake ones don't have a thick wax ring on the back.
Gotcha.
So it's not going to be real. It's just kind of like that store-bought
We
bullshit.
learned something new today.
I like Pecorino and Parmigiano Reggiano.
Did you say you like pecker? What?
No, Pecorino is
Oh, Pecorino. I'm sorry.
From Italy. You're going to get a lot of Italian people complaining about your ignorance, motherfucker. Can you say motherfucker on YouTube?
You can definitely say motherfucker on YouTube. Because I usually say fuck it's hot. We shave the cheese on there? Do we cut pieces in?
I'm glad you asked, my young friend. Okay, so I'm going to add the garlic now. Because I don't want it to have to happen later. And I like using my tongue. Because you know why? Because I can. Alright, so now I know our noodles are done.
While you're doing that, I'm making the bottle of Pinot Grigio.
So we're going to get ready to add our noodles. We're going to transfer our noodles right from the pot to our mill, and we're going to start finishing it up.
Basically, just putting it in and doing it. Now, the shrimp isn't done yet, so it'll continue to cook while the pasta will continue to cook while it's in there, right?
The hotter you don't want the shrimp to overcook, quite frankly, because they'll become rubbery and not very good. So I don't mind the shrimp being undercooked up until this point. We still haven't added the cream because we didn't have a box grater, so we can't just make it completely from scratch. So we're going to use a little cream. So we got a few steps to go. All right. So now the water is nice and it's got lots of starch in it. We're going to keep adding that. You'll notice that the starch, if we haven't put too much water in it, will start to cook down, or the water will start to cook down, and you'll start to see a reduction in the sauce. It'll become much more creamy, and we'll go from there.
So the water actually turns into the actual sauce.
Yeah, well, we're going to add cream because we're shortcutting it today.
Gotcha.
Just to make it easier on everybody instead of having to kill them. This is called a microplane zester or grater. We want that water. We don't want to throw it out because we're going to maybe we're going to need it. And then we're going to want to emulsify our sauce with our cheese. That's the whole point of this. Can you hand me the cream, please?
Emulsify is a big word for?
Emulsify is a big word for making sure everything's mixed up. So if you notice, the shrimp is starting to cook real good. And
so we're going to use just regular old heavy cream.
All right, I got cheese all over your wrist off, please.
That's all right. We have we've got a dog
and a cat. And that's good cheese. They'll love it. So we're gonna start to mix this up.
Hold on 1 second while we're doing this. Producer, we want one of these too. She said go K. Apparently the budget's gone up from $0 to
$10.
$10. Woohoo!
15.
Okay.
That's a nice one.
Oh, 15.
All right, so we're gonna start to rigorously mix our sauce around. We want the water to evaporate. And Mike's gonna take this grater and keep grating cheese until his fucking arms are tired. And
No, Mike's drinking Pinot Grigio.
Mike,
God.
I'm gonna take the cheese grater across his knuckles, audience. But how many people would like that? Vote for that shit. All right, just like I'm doing. Keep going. Right. Keep going. We're cooking too quick here. All right, and our steaks are fucking overcooking right now.
Did we check? Did we check the steaks?
No. Alcohol and drinking don't mix.
Alcohol and drinking don't mix. Okay.
Take me drunk, I'm home.
Ladies and gentlemen, that would be Marcus. All right, I'm not putting any more cheese in there because I'd like to keep my ass.
We're worried about your intestines.
Yes, we are worried about my intestines. and you take them out, and this is what they look like. You can see the butter is actually melted. You can see the rosemary, and by the way, fuck, this is hot.
Just pour a little bit. All right, that's enough. That's more than a little bit. More than I want. All right, guys. So this is what your meal is going to start. It's going to start to come together. As you can see, your sauce is going to start to thicken. If you're a normal person and don't have lactose intolerance, you can we can make the sauce even thicker because we're going to just keep adding cheese. The cheese is normally the way that you want to thicken the sauce.
It won't thicken by cooking. It ain't thickened by other.
It thickens by cooking, but you got to keep constantly stirring. Like this is a process. You want it to all kind of start to go, and it starts to come together. See how it's starting to melt on the sides here, or evaporate on the sides.
And as you can tell, Phoebe's really into this. By the way, she's deaf. Can't hear me tell her to stop barking.
She just figured out she's smarter than y'all.
She didn't figure that out. She figured that out 13 years ago.
Fuck. Shrimp down. 5-second rule.
We have a shrimp down. We have a shrimp down. Okay. Fuck, it's hot. All right. Shrimp is gone. Okay.
So, unfortunately, my cheese is sticking to the pan. But as you can see, everything is all but evaporated. So it's getting nice and creamy. We can't use all cheese because of Mike's intolerance. So we're going to use a little more cream.
Just so you know, it's not just me. We have a lot of our viewers who are lactose intolerant, and we want to try and make sure
Isn't
to
there a
realize.
pill for that shit?
Yeah, it doesn't really work all that well. So we do have people that have difficulty with this. So even though Marcus is making fun of everybody,
I'm sorry, guys. Only Mike, really.
Yeah.
Anybody else I have sympathy for.
Yeah, that is true. Marcus really doesn't like me all that much. He's just here because he wants to show off his cooking skills.
I love him, but sometimes you just want to put his hand through the box strainer.
He loves me lots. Okay.
Alright, so we are there.
Is that pretty much it?
Yeah, we want to add a little bit more cream so there's more sauce because everybody likes sauce. I haven't tasted it. I normally I do a tasting. Just a little bit on the side, sir. Not in the middle. It's harder than most fat. That's good.
Well, this is my show. I do the tasting.
Oh, no. Do not cut the steak. 15 minutes. Let it rest. This shit's still cooking. Is the burner on?
No.
Turn the oven off, sir. We have to cook one. We have to cook one well done for somebody. So
she knows who she is, and it's not my producer, director, executive. My executive producer, wife, director, and editor likes her cow mooing. She wants to bite into it and you look at her and go, "What the hell are you doing?" Somebody else likes it burnt to I just got throat punched. Likes burnt to shit. So anyway, so what are we tasting there? If we're just tasting that?
We're just tasting the noodles. You don't need to taste the shrimp. You've tasted shrimp before.
All right, so I'm gonna take a little bit of the noodles.
Are you getting more parsley or anything green to add some color to this shit?
I got basil.
All right, I'm overcooking my food right now, Mike. So I need to be done with this.
All right, that's fine. Whatever. It's done. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a little bit of the noodles. I can't touch the steak because, dear God, it hasn't been 15 minutes. We're gonna take a little bit of the noodles. Oh, that's cool too. So then that actually works both ways. Or is that just something you just figured out on your own? I mean, is it supposed to do that?
It's better when you do it with the less wide ones because they get caught up at the bottom. Because you can't make a real good volcano with these. But yeah, that's typically how you want to do it. Gotcha.
Put a shrimp on there anyway because I know I haven't. I want a shrimp.
No.
Ah, damn it. All right.
All right, here. I give you one shrimp. I can make a better plate if you want that.
No, that's fine. All right, so that's what it looks like without the steak. There's a steak, but I can't touch it yet, as we've heard repeatedly. So what I'm going to do...
More green stuff.
I'm going to go ahead and taste this. See what it's like.
I think it's under seasoned. And I would also use more black pepper. So guys, you can come in towards the end, and you can kind of season it, get it up to flavor as you want. I like to build my sauces from the onions. Also add a little fat back, but you do have the cream, so you don't want to add too much fat. But one little pat of butter won't hurt you. Just a little bit, just to get that satiny finish on it. So you can put that pat of butter in, and then just continue to emulsify your sauce that way.
I hate these really professional cooks. Anyway, while he's doing that, I'm going to taste this.
As you can see, I'm almost all out of sauce. It's cooking in different spots.
So I'm going to try this one more time. If he interrupts me again, I'm going to throw punch him. I'm going to taste this.
And what I was thinking,
All right, here we go. Oh, that is really good.
Is that good?
Oh, that is damn good. And shrimp. You know what? Marcus, excellent. Phoebe in the background obviously approves.
If your cheese starts to stick to the bottom of your pan, you can use a little of your pasta water to deglaze your pan.
All right, so you saw us taste it. Obviously, we didn't taste the steak because it's still doing a 15-minute whatever, but it's fantastic. Marcus showed you how to make the sauce. The whole thing really only took about a half an hour or so, I mean, all said and done, really, to do that. You know, there's some time and what have you. Not hugely expensive. I think the Jameson was probably the most expensive. But anyway, so not really that expensive. Pretty quick, pretty easy. A good date night dinner for you and a loved one, spouse, significant other, or whoever you're having a date night with. So, want to thank kids. All right, so really, just a great meal. So, thank you very much for coming, showing us how to do all of this, making it. He's definitely more of a professional chef than I am. So, as you could tell, he used, you know, sprigs of things and butter and all that kind of stuff. I don't do that. I just put whatever out there and do a great job. So
it's really drinking with Michael.
That's really what this is.
That's
to
what
be.
We should call this show.
We've talked about calling it the Drunk Chef, but he's wasted more shrimp. Anyway, so with that said, Marcus, thank you so much for showing us how to do all this. We really appreciate it. I hope you'll come back and do another one.
Thanks for having me.
And we really had a great time doing it. So I'm going to drink my Pinot Grigio. He's going to drink more Jameson. We're going to eat a lot of food with our spouses, significant others, date nights, whoever we want to eat with. And that's what this show's all about, having a great... that's actually supposed to be in Marcus tonight. So, oh, sorry. So anyway, anyway, thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoy it. And we look forward to seeing you again. Please like, subscribe, share, join us, and watch every week. We'll always have something new. Have a great night. Enjoy your dinner, everyone. Good night.
Good night. It was fun.
Okay. Wine.
More Jameson.